Okay, so this is probation review, pre-sentencing report from the public defender's office. All right, this is my attorney, my public defender threw me under the bus. One of the worst public defenders, worst attorneys I've ever seen in my life. He blurted out in court that I had filed a complaint against Judge Ryan's wife without my permission or anything. Jumped up in court and said, "Your Honor, I just want to let you know that Mr. Snyder filed a complaint against your wife." And everybody in the courtroom was speechless. Okay, so this is probation, right? On December 8th, 2022. Okay, this is the case number, Adam Ryan. You can look this up. This is the pre-sentencing report, and then the case file will be different. The case file at the district attorney's office, I guarantee you, dude, is got some shit in there, and they don't want me to see it. I've asked for it several times. They don't want me to see it because they made stuff up about me in there, and then I'll get a copy of it, dude, and then I'll tear it up, and they'll look stupid. But we can go through this real quick. Okay, so the following is a summary of Anderson Police Department APD report number. It says on 216 Shasta County Child and Family Services, CFS, informed the APD of an open investigation in respect to the defendant Jacob Snyder neglecting and causing emotional harm to his 13-year-old son. It says hereinafter will be CB1. Okay, as reported by the child's mother, Kendra Snyder, who will be provided in the following written narrative. So this is her narrative. Since I've been giving full custody of my oldest son, Jace, dude, she's had full custody of him for 12 days, okay? And he hasn't lived with her for 2 years. He's lived with me full time because her boyfriend's abusive. And basically I was working on getting the other 2 kids out of there, and this all happened, and Judge Gibson freaked out. So this is now like he's been over there for 2 weeks, okay? Think about it, 2 weeks, and he's lived with me for 2 years. He's been telling me a lot more concerning info about when he lived with his father. He told me he was drinking whiskey and vodka with Jacob. He also told me that Jacob would set booby traps and snares around the house, which resulted in my child stepping on one and getting a severe puncture. A severe puncture wound on his foot. This particular trap was made with large nails, and Jace told me that his father would wake him up and tell him of codes in the middle of the night, and would drive around with Jace to show him where sex trafficking sheds were located. And Jace told me he had to make mostly all of his meals. His dad was too enveloped in his delusions and conspiracies most of the time to cook. Jacob told Jace that my mother, Karen, has tried to persuade me into molesting him and his siblings for years. Jacob has recently made a Facebook post telling his followers to be on the lookout for myself and children, and to swoop us up and drive far away. In same post, he gave the age and description of myself and 3 children. Jace is being authentic and telling me the truth this time because he is very afraid of his father and doesn't want to see him. He's hoping we will have enough evidence for a restraining order to remain there. Their attempt as of now. He's hoping the restraining order to remain there. Attempt as of now. He wants to be re-interviewed by CPS now that he's out of the claws and control of Jacob Snyder. Jace's biggest fear and why he lied in the past is his father, obtaining documentation of Jace telling the truth and the repercussions of Jacob Snyder that followed. Listen to this shit, dude. It gets funny. Jace's biggest fear and why he lied in the past is in his father's obtaining documentation of Jace telling the truth and the repercussions of Jacob Snyder that followed. Jace told me that after the CPS interviewed him, Jacob kept him out of school in fear that they would be back, and instructed his school not to let him, Jace, talk to them. School confirmed this and told me that they could not honor that because CPS has a right to talk to children if deemed necessary. Please re-interview child Jace so that the truth can come out and he can remain safe. At 13 years old, my son has consumed hard alcohol with Jacob, stepped on traps, and has told to trust no one and gets screamed at if he doesn't play along or questions Jacob's psychosis. Okay? Now, listen, okay? Dude, this is 6 months after my two youngest kids are like gone. Kendra doesn't know where the hell they're at, right? Nobody does, okay? And on top of that, dude, this is in August of 2021. I straight told this judge straight to his face. I knew exactly what he did to my daughter, and I told him straight up. I said, "Dude, you're gross. You're sick. You're using the speech therapy to hurt children." And I said, "I'm not okay with it." And I said, I've been, I've kept everything from the very beginning. So I have the evidence to put you away to prison for life. And I said, and I just want my kids. Just give me my kids. Let me have full custody of my kids. I said, I don't care what's going on with Kendra, right? This is after they offered me money and a settlement, right? And non-disclosure, all this shit, right? I looked at this judge in his face, dude, and I told him straight up, this is the deal. I want my kids and I'll leave it alone. I'll stop talking about it. Because I knew at this moment, or at that moment in August and October, I knew what was going to happen. It was going to be a huge deal and an argument with everybody. I just knew that. Okay. I knew from personal experience, maybe. I knew from just the way that everybody was acting about it, right? But I also knew because this judge is an arrogant asshole. I'll say it straight to his face. I don't care. I have no respect for this man. He's an arrogant asshole who molested my daughter and laughed about it in my face while I was trying to get her safe away from her mom's. Okay? The things that are said about me are so outrageous, and let me explain. Okay? Number one, right here, I hate vodka. I can't stand it. It makes me want to throw up just talking about it. My wife likes vodka. She'll drink it, and she tries to force me to drink it all the time. And I hate it. I can't stand the stuff, dude. I would never drink vodka, and I would never drink it with my son. Like, to me, like, vodka is like, it's, it would be a disservice to that young man to have to drink vodka. You know what I mean? It just like, I like whiskey, so that makes sense, but I hate vodka. I can't stand it. And my wife knows that. And we fought about, not fought about it. Yeah, we argued about it plenty of times. I hate vodka. Okay. So the fact that she would say something like that is a clue to me, or like evidence that this doesn't make sense. Tell him codes. I have no idea what he's talking about. Or drive him around and show him sex trafficking sheds. I would never take my son to do something like that. That's crazy. But in this community, like in this town, right, in our little town, for some reason, there's these weird, like sheds or houses back behind some of the houses, and it looks creepy. And that's what I was talking about. But I wasn't driving around town showing my son. I did drive a friend around recently to show her that. Karen Henry has tried to persuade me into molesting my children. The things that I was saying about her mom, Karen Henry, was that she knew that my kids were molested and she didn't say or do anything about it. So she basically is letting it happen or facilitating it. And it's the same thing that happened to Kendra when she was little. Okay, but I don't think that Karen's persuading Kendra to molest. I don't think like that. I think that Karen is a chicken shit and buries her head like an ostrich, just like Kendra. Okay, swoop us up and drive far away. I posted on Facebook that my kids were abducted, and that basically if you'd seen them, to give them a phone so they could call the 911 or call their dad. And I told Kendra to drive far away from this place. I would never tell somebody to take my kids and swoop them up. And I have all the posts from Facebook to prove it. This guy is twisting the words and he's trying to make it sound worse than it is. And it's crazy, dude. And not only that, but now you know, right? Like, I've told this guy to his face that he molested my daughter, and I didn't want to deal with this bullshit anymore. And he told me to file a lawsuit against the state of California because the government will always defend him. That's what he told me in court. And I was like, you're a piece of shit. He says he's being authentic now, telling me the truth. And this time, because he's very afraid of his father and doesn't want to see him. Now, if me and my son are making YouTube videos, dude, and talking about these people, and then all of a sudden, dude, I get my son taken away, and I don't have that person with me anymore to talk about this. Like, that was the reason why Gary Gibson took my kid, because he's seen the videos. The repercussions of Mr. Snyder. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen anything about me, there's hardly any repercussions. Okay, it's ridiculous, right? He says things that are like so outlandish, dude. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so look, check this out. Jacob kept him out of school, in fear that they would come back, and instructed his school not to let the child, Jace, talk to them. All right, now listen. I love Samsung and Samsung technology, and
High school principal, Anderson Middle. I had a note that you wanted to get a call if anyone had talked to your son.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, we had someone stop in today from the Health and Human Services agency, and so I just know it's a social worker there, and it was just a brief time, so I just wanted to let you know that had happened, and you betcha, and
I don't know what the school's policy or position is, but I would rather prefer, the reason why I was asking for a call is I just would rather somebody be there in the case of somebody coming there. You know, like I understand that this social worker, but just having like a school representative there, or somebody else there in the room to make sure that my kid's okay and to make sure that it's appropriate. I've been through a lot. Actually, and the reason why all this is happening, or the reason why I would say that is because at the school that my two youngest go to right now, the court was actually sending a judge to go and to interview the kids about a situation, and it wasn't even a social worker. So I think that was inappropriate, and I think that the kids, obviously representation there in that type of situation, because I don't know.
Yeah, no, that seems super out of line. No, this was.
So I just want to make sure that that's something that you guys are aware of. That's the reason why I asked you called, and then if I feel totally comfortable if somebody from the school's there, as long as
okay.
as long as that it's two people or two different people,
Yeah, no, if gosh, if staffing allows, we can certainly do that. And I know one of the gals today was a former student of mine when I worked at Anderson High School, and she's an intern pursuing that school psychologist program. So she's in there, like they're definitely not a judge or anything. I mean, it was a legit social worker. I just didn't think to catch the name. So.
I'm so happy you called. I really appreciate it. I went to Anderson High School too. This situation is just it's gotten completely blown out of proportion, and it's gotten like you said, like crossed the line. That's exactly what's happened, and it's sad because there's good people I think are just are doing their jobs, but they're confused about the situation, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah, well, and that can totally happen. I know how things can get spun, so I want to respect where you're at, and definitely, we work to keep it safe and do what's best for them, but sometimes in those efforts it gets twisted, so.
My son told me, I picked him up, and my son told me what happened, and he said, and I guess he said, because we haven't seen his younger brother and sister, and I haven't seen him in 3 months. And he hasn't seen him for a month, and so the social worker came to talk to him about it, and he just told her flat out that basically it's not okay,
Yeah.
It's weird because I have full custody of my oldest son, and then what's happening is basically like my son can't even call him and talk to them, which doesn't make any sense because they're siblings.
Yeah.
My son's never done anything to them, So,
wow.
So that's it. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, no, you bet. Have a good afternoon, and we'll hopefully see Jace tomorrow.
Okay, now look at what he says right here. What he says right here. Jacob Snyder that follows. Jace told me that after CPS interviewed him, Jacob kept him out of school in fear that they would come back and instructed his school not to let Jace talk to them. School confirmed this and told me that they could not honor this because their CPS has a right to talk to children if deemed necessary. Stephanie Bridget, you need to get your head out of your ass and you need to interview Alicia Endicott and this principal here, who's now resigned from Anderson Middle School because of this case. Okay, this principal, I've talked to her. I've talked to her several times. I have her phone number. Okay, she's actually told me why she's resigned because of this case. Because Stephanie Bridget refuses to investigate an abduction case and refuses to investigate human trafficking, refuses to investigate anything else other than the fact that what she wants to investigate or blame on other people. So this was a child abuse case because my kids were abducted and I went to jail for it for a year. So Stephanie Bridget, I have court on June 24th, or I'm sorry, July 24th. That's it's 5 days. And I expect a phone call from you and something to happen with this case instead of my son missing or gone or in jail or in a mental hospital or dead and my other two kids wherever the fuck you want them to be because you won't do anything else other than blame me. So I did my own investigation. I have evidence to everything that you've said about me and everything that Judge Gibson said about me, the exact opposite, and that to prove you wrong on everything. So this is evidence right here that I didn't say what you said in this report, or whoever did. And that's perjury. And not only that, but that was said in an attempt to take my children away from me. And this is now probably the 7th or 8th time this has happened. So wake up, Stephanie Bridget, or you're going to go to prison for life. Because I haven't seen my kids in years.